Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to the second episode of Davidson Academy DECA Direct. Today we're going to be talking about role plays, more specifically your performance indicators and what you can do to make sure to wow the judge when it comes down to judge time. So first of all, we're going to be talking about the acronym DECA that you can use when you're working on your performance indicators in a role play. This acronym stands for, first of all, define. When you have a performance indicator, for example, develop rapport with customers, you first want to define what exactly that performance indicator means to you in the context of the role play. Now, the performance indicator might mean something different in the context of the role play than it does otherwise, so make sure to keep that in mind. Second of all, you want to give an example, E, for whatever performance indicator you're working on. For example, let's say that your performance indicator is to develop a rapport with customers. You want to make sure that you can give an example of this, perhaps talking about Apple's excellent rapport with customers. Next, you want to make sure to connect, as I mentioned earlier, connect that performance indicator back into the situation. Going above and beyond like this really helps it all work together, and that's the final component of the DECA acronym, going above and beyond. So when you have a performance indicator, you want to make sure that you're not just defining or giving an example or connecting it back to the situation. You can go above and beyond through components like acronyms, jingles. I really enjoy using other sources, even if they're not necessarily completely true, mentioning things like Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, and giving statistics, because these can help my performance indicator really stand out. Another important part of performance indicators is making sure that you can transition between them smoothly and effectively, and making sure that you map them out in a way that's understandable to your judge. The best way to do this is to go from the least specific performance indicator to the most specific one. This is not necessarily the order that they're in on your role play sheet that you're given at competition. You might need to reorder them, reorganize them, and that's totally fine so long as you make sure to do that with a roadmap. This is a really great way, if you're going from least specific to most specific, to make sure that you have the judge's attention and to make sure that your roadmap moves smoothly. The other big component of this is transition. So if you have a transition between a performance indicator and another one that's a little bit rough, it can make it harder for the judge to follow your role play and to understand what point you're trying to get across. For example, if you're transitioning between two performance indicators and you do so simply by saying, next I'm gonna talk about, this is a little bit harder to follow. It makes it sound more abrupt and less natural than if you were in a typical interview situation and you simply said, let's see, something else ties into this component through this aspect. If you can kind of tie together using maybe buzzwords, things like that, oftentimes it makes your transition seem a lot more smooth. So Paula just asked me as a PI what role employees have in controlling expenses within a company. It's a performance indicator from BFS. As you probably all know, I have never done a finance role play in my life, nor do I want to, and I'm really not entirely sure what this PI means, but I'm here today to try to show you guys what my thought process is when I'm not entirely sure what a performance indicator means, but I know I have to go ahead and talk about it anyway. So the first thing that I do when I'm thinking about a performance indicator that I'm not quite aware of is thinking about using keywords. Using keywords like expense control, employees, it might sound kind of silly, but making sure to kind of tune in to words that you do understand, if there are other words that include industry jargon about a role play, is a great place to start. Second of all, I use the context of the role play. Now, even though I don't have this in this situation, I would think about perhaps what the business is like, what the employees might be doing within a business. So now I'm going to actually start using these tips on talking about the performance indicator. All right, so employees have a huge role in controlling expenses within a company for a couple specific reasons. The first of these is ethics. They need to make sure that they're honest about what they're doing within the company, how they're spending the company's money, and how they're spending their own time within the company. This comes down to things like maintaining accurate expense logs, as well as accurately accounting for logging their own hours within the company. The second key component of employee expense control within the company is making sure that these employees are doing their best to promote the company and make sure that it's as fiscally responsible as possible. So this means, for example, making sure to use their own money appropriately within the company, making sure to not buy the most expensive product with the company's money, as well as making sure to treat employees and other customers with the best possible attitude. If an employee makes sure to treat customers with that positive customer service relationship, it's likely to promote other customers coming back and to grow the business itself, which will create a more financially stable business in the first place. As you can see, employees really do have a huge role within a company, regardless of their place within it, in maintaining and controlling finances, which is really important to think about within any business.
Okay, so in order to talk about how we can really develop these good relationships with our customers that we have here at the SS Meteor, I think it's really important for us to understand really the nature of having these positive customer relations. I like to think about having positive customer relations with the acronym SMILE, standing for Smile, Mentality, Image, Listening, and Energy. Now I'll go through each of these points one by one. So first, whenever a tourist comes here to the SS Meteor, it's really important that we greet them with a smile. It's the first impression that they have of us here as tour guides, of the company as a whole, and so it's really important that by smiling and making and having a good attitude with them, we can really reflect well on the company as a whole. Next, it's very important to have a good mentality when we're talking to the tourists that are here at the SS Meteor. If we have a bad mentality if I have a bad mentality when I go and I talk to a customer for the first time, then they're probably not going to have the best experience that they could. They're going to have a day here at the SS Meteor where they're going to be thinking, oh man, this is I'm not having a good time here, it's not the best. But if I come in and I think about every single customer as an opportunity to make a difference and to have them gain some knowledge about the SS Meteor, then I really can make it a good experience throughout the entire day for them. Next, it's very important to have a good image. Here at the SS Meteor, us tour guides have an official uniform that we have to be wearing, and so with that, by being well-dressed, by being professional, we really reflect well on how the company is doing as a whole. So it's also really important that we listen to our customers. Being a tour guide isn't just about sharing the knowledge that you have with the customers that we have here and telling them everything that you know about the SS Meteor. That's not what being a tour guide is about. It's also about being interactive with them, being able to answer any complaints that they have, being able to respond to the questions that they might have about anything that they're curious about here at the SS Meteor. And so it's really important that we are listening to the people that are coming here, because that can truly make the relationship that we have with our customers even better. And finally, it's very important that we have energy whenever we're dealing with our customers. If you were a tourist coming here to the SS Meteor, you wouldn't want to see a tour guide who looks like they're not happy to be here. Instead, it's important, in order to have a good relationship with the people that are coming here, it's very important that you are energized and you really truly seem like you are excited to be a tour guide here at the SS Meteor, because honestly, this is such an amazing place for us to be working at. And so you need to bring that kind of energy and excitement into every single interaction that you have with customers. And so what that SMILE acronym does is it really helps us develop that good relationship and help us to develop rapport that we have with customers. So really, rapport with customers honestly comes down to two main things in my opinion. It's highlighting common interests. First off, for us here at the SS Meteor, we have a common interest. We both are really, really interested in the history of this ship that we have here. Next, it's also about having this mutual friendliness, you being friendly towards the tourist being friendly to you. And so that kind of rapport really helps to develop more of a strong relationship that you are having with the people that are coming here. Apple does an amazing job at doing this. So when you walk into an Apple store, you're immediately greeted by someone that's asking what they're able to help you with, what products you're interested in, if you need anything done with your device that you might already have. And this recently helped Apple have a 95% customer satisfaction rating, as rated by Forbes magazine. So really, by having these good first interactions and developing a rapport with the customer throughout their entire time, whether it be at Apple, whether it be here at the SS Meteor, it really helps to make an amazing experience for the customer, which is really what we're trying to do here as tour guides. Because as tour guides, we're kind of like the front lines for the company in a way. We are the first image that they have of the company as a whole. And so it's very important that we help to develop the rapport with customers in order to try and help reinforce the company as a whole. Going back to Apple, the people that are working at the Apple store are reflective of Apple as a whole, and if they are able to be helpful to people that are walking into their store, you're also going to have a better image of Apple as a whole. You're going to want to buy more Apple products if you feel that Apple is truly going to help make your experience with their digital products as best that it can be. It's the same kind of thing that you're going to see here with the SS Meteor. So the more that our tourists are enjoying their experience here at the SS Meteor, the more likely they are to go on one of our other guided tours. The more they're likely to recommend the SS Meteor as an incredible adventure and exploration for any of their friends. And so by doing so, we're helping to promote the company's image. And by doing that, we can really help our tour company as a whole to succeed.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the second episode of Davidson Academy DECA Direct. Make sure to like and subscribe and all that jazz. And also, I hope that these tips are helpful in the future. Let me know if you have any questions at all. Thanks.